Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. Carasoft Technology would like to welcome you to our ServiceNow Public Sector Tech Talk, leveraging GenAI to up and reskill for the workforce of the future. Before we get started, I would like to quickly go over a few housekeeping items. Please note that all lines have been muted to reduce any kind of background noise during the presentation. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please use the Q&A feature on the bottom of your screen, and we'll do our best to answer by the end of the presentation or follow up with you offline. This webinar is being recorded and a copy will be emailed to you. Just to tell you a little bit about Carasoft, we are a trusted government IT solutions provider supporting public sector organizations across federal, state, and local government agencies, including education and healthcare markets. At this time, I'd like to hand the floor over to our speakers. Stephanie, the floor is all yours.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Good afternoon, everyone. We're looking forward to spending the next 60 minutes together just to do a deeper dive into our talent management solution. We look forward to hearing your perspectives and challenges around this area. So let's keep it as engaging as we can with utilizing the Q&A at the end to feel free to jump off mute if there's further feedback and questions that you want to share. So I have just a handful of slides as we get going here, and then I'll hand it over to my colleague, Emily Corey. And both Emily and I sit on the employee workflows team here at ServiceNow. So focusing on talent management, and there's been a lot of talk about how people are our most important asset in the federal space. And within Fed, Emily and I focus on national security areas within ServiceNow. And I just saw the new chief of staff at the Air Force just put out a letter to the force that said how their workforce is their bedrock of success. But there's also been a lot of concern about how the latest technologies, especially AI, might threaten the job security of the workforce. So there's this recent future jobs report from the World Economic Forum that says that 86% of employers anticipate that AI and information processing technologies will transform their businesses by 2030. So, what we're going to do is focus on both how to equip our people, our most important asset, with the skills they need to be ready for this workforce of the future. We want our federal workforce to be ready for this rapidly changing tech environment. We want them to be able to confidently lean in, to this uncertainty right now, and for them to ultimately be that true bedrock of success going into this time of rapid change. So we're seeing more and more employees that we're working with embrace these opportunities to reskill. So 64% of employees expect AI to impact their roles, whether that be requiring new skill sets, task adjustments, all the way to significant reskilling right now. And then 48% of employees say they want more formal training and believe it's the best way to boost that AI adoption. So this solution that I'm going to turn to Emily here in a moment to show us focuses on providing that connected experience for your employees from hire to retire. So this isn't just another point solution. So all the way from that accession point to providing them with that robust professional development experience while they're at your agency. So now, to achieve all this with up and reskilling, there are a few key challenge areas that we keep hearing time and time again from our federal customers. One that I keep hearing is look, we know the demands of the future and that we need to upskill around cyber and AI especially. But how do we map skills at scale and at an enterprise level across a federal agency? We need a reliable way to align billet structure with skill sets of personnel and accurately assess risk in the overall health of career fields. The other one, Emily and I just keep hearing time and time again that we're going to dive deeper into during this session is there's very little info that's gathered at a new hire's accession point. So, for instance, if that new hire has coding experience, but perhaps has another major like electrical engineering or maybe even history, there's no current way of knowing that skill set at the point of hire. So, only very basic info is gathered, such as major and GPA. And then thirdly, when employees might receive higher education while working at a respective agencies, they might get a PhD or a fellowship or other continuing educational opportunities. There are limited ways to assign them to positions that capitalize on those acquired skill sets. So, this slide shows how ServiceNow fits into the customer's overall talent management ecosystem. We're uniquely positioned to provide the system of engagement experience layer there at the top, needed to drive employee and manager adoption with tools that we at ServiceNow already provide, whether it's that one-stop shop of our employee center, our manager hub, leader hub for executives. ServiceNow also provides insights and actions into the natural day-to-day flow of work via various systems of action, whether that be Outlook, Teams, Zoom, mobile devices, if you would like to use those. So we're not trying to rip and replace customers using their existing ATS or HCM or LMS. Rather, we're trying to provide the intelligence and experience layers to sit on top of these systems or record that you already own. Now, just going a level deeper into that skills foundation and AI layer that you see here on this slide. So here are some of the key components of our skills foundation. Starting there at the bottom with establishing a solid foundation. This is a dynamic AI-driven skills ontology that helps to define and measure the relationships between skills and specific roles within your agency. So this ontology provides actionable data that addresses skills gaps. So powered by AI, the skills ontology is constantly learning, it's inferring, collecting, and maintaining information about these skills, which means that your agency doesn't need to update that info manually. You can augment the skills ontology with your agency's internal data to further enrich all this. And then going up to the user experience, we'll show you how professional development can be done intuitively and in that natural flow of work by the employee. So they're facing a lot of changes right now with workforce transformation, but up and reskilling doesn't need to be an overly tedious burden. And then up there on top with that 360 perspective of an employee skills profile, what you can do is build a complete understanding of your talent with a comprehensive view of the skills they possess. So your employees can regularly monitor and update their skills profiles to gain the knowledge and capabilities to thrive in these changing times. They can leverage their skills profiles and easily import their skills from resumes or LinkedIn profiles, for instance. And then with skills-based career data, you can match the career data of your organization with skills. So actual job roles are aligned with relevant skills. And this, of course, empowers employees not only to excel in their current roles, but it fosters those opportunities for their further growth and advancement within the agency when they see specifically what skills they need for upward growth and for other roles and responsibilities as they further grow. And then lastly, with driving proactive prompts to drive adoption. You can drive adoption in your organization by sending these prompts proactively to your employees and managers so that they perform the specific tasks in their flow of work. For example, prompts can be used to request an employee to update their skills or for a manager to validate the skills of their team. So things like this don't fall between the cracks. There are these constant reminders. And then you can use these prompts in various engagement channels that you already use, such as Teams, Outlook, Zoom, and then on mobile devices. With this solution, HR service delivery is what talent development is housed in within ServiceNow. It resides in about 100 agencies across the federal space. And again, if anyone here on the call would like a deeper dive into this or to talk separately about your agency's particular areas of focus around this, just let us know and we look forward to continuing the conversation. So with that, I will turn it over to my colleague Emily Corey, who will show us a demo of this talent management solution.
Sorry there, I lost the mute button. Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Emily Corey. I am teammates with Stephanie. I am the solution consultant. So think of me as the product specialist. And I will be walking you through the solution that Stephanie outlined at the beginning. Before we dive in, I wanted to kind of lay the foundation of this portal that we're looking at here. We call this Employee Center Pro. It is that one-stop shop that Stephanie mentioned, and it's essentially where users can have that self-service experience to access the information they need when they need it. She also called this a system of engagement, and I think that's key to emphasize on this because we are not trying to replace any of the back-end systems. What we want is to make everyone's lives easier and find information when you need it at that time. So the idea of this is to make this portal user friendly, accessible, connecting with those back end systems of record, while making it easy for me as the employee to actually access the information. So just a little bit about the portal. Like I said, self-service in mind. You've got campaign banners here, so you're able to target curated messages for the user and their role. So you could set these like campaigns, think of something like open enrollment, parental leave, IT updates. This really is cross-departmental throughout the agency. You obviously have searching and AI built into that search to be able to search for any information when you need it. Quick links, easy to find information that is commonly searched for, commonly requested. Active items, so things like tasks. What's cool about these tasks is that they are obviously have due dates. You're able to then see when things are past due, view the details of them, complete that training, make that approval if I am a supervisor. And these are going to be tied to workflows in the back end. So once I make my approval, it could go up to the next leader in line to make the approval. So the idea of this is to keep everything at your fingertips, keep employees informed of what's going on. Stephanie mentioned those prompts. We'll see those throughout the demo today. You can see here, this is reminding me that my career is a priority. It's easy to, I think, have that IDP type of discussion once a year, maybe twice a year if you're lucky. But what's great about this solution is that it keeps the career top of mind for the individual and making sure that they aren't just coasting, that they're really able to excel within their career. So I'll go ahead and dive into the talent development portion of this. Wanted to start just by highlighting the employee profile of this. So you can see really all of my details here, but under this career tab, what's great to see is that I, as the employee, her name is coincidentally Emily too, but we're able to see all of the skills that I have mastered or I have associated with me in our solution here, right? So you'll notice here essential skills. So these are ones that are required for my role. You'll also see different numbers associated with those skills. These are graded by the proficiency level. So I'm able to actually come in and change my proficiency level if I have maybe taken additional trainings or I have been able to advance further. And then you'll also notice these green check marks mean they're validated. So it'll indicate who validated it and when it was validated. So that there is, I could say I'm really good at anything, but you may need to have some checks and balances to make sure that I actually have the credibility and specialty within that specific skill. So these are essential skills for my role. What's great about the solution as well is that the additional skills are important to track also because maybe it's something that's outside of my role, my day-to-day job that isn't necessarily something that we would track, but I have strengths in that. So I'm able to come in and add those skills. I could actually, that could be a workflow getting routed to validation, whether that's to my manager or whether that requires a certification. I'm able to take ownership of that here. So that's what's great about this. You also have the ability to upload your resume if you, once you're a new hire and being able to then it'll take the skills from your resume and add them to your profile. So again, making that easy for the individual so that the information is captured here within the system. Even just furthermore here on this career profile tab, I can see, my aspirations. We consider aspirations to be long-term goals. So things that, maybe it's longer term, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road of something I'm interested in. Goals and IDPs, we'll talk a little bit more about. Achievements, so credentials, or I'm sorry, certifications, credentials, being able to see when I've passed these certifications and being able to have those here. Again, once it's here within the solution, it's able to be searched on. So as a leader, we'll look at in a little bit later, being able to see who has what skills, who has what certifications, if we need to pull someone in for a special project. And then lastly here, experience. So you're able to see how long I've been here within the agency, what is my experience, almost like a resume there, LinkedIn profile style. Um, so that's just the brief career profile from that view. I'm going to pivot here and go into what we call Career Hub. This is really the main place you'd go to take ownership of your career. Lots of different tabs here to kind of help keep you organized of what aspect of your career you're focusing on, what maybe effort you're going through, or what conversations you're having. Again, we see those prompts here reminding me to set up conversations or create an IDP or growth plan on working towards that. I'm also able to see my tasks associated with my career growth, right? So I'm able to see, okay, I have a task that is past due. It's flagging it. I'm able to come in and look at what that task is and come in and complete it if I need to. So, what's great about this is it will keep you organized. And as I mentioned before, we've found a lot of times people have put their careers on, I don't want to say the back burner, but it isn't necessarily a constant priority, just with supporting the mission, doing your day job, and then also, by the way, trying to think of what your goals are, certainly can be a challenge or gets overlooked. So keeping organized with these aspirations, with these growth plans, being able to keep up with what you want to do and how you want to do it. And then even when you're ready for it, if you are ready to explore a new opportunity internally, again, the power of AI, it's actually suggesting different roles within the agency that are open and available based on the skills that I have associated with myself. So I can come in and actually look at a match analysis to see, okay, how do my skills match this opportunity? What are the gaps? So I don't have these skills currently or the correct proficiency level for them. So it is able to make suggestions of things that I might be interested in. And, that's something that's powerful. Maybe it's something that I wouldn't have thought of because maybe it isn't the traditional, senior position or moving up that track. Maybe it's a lateral, different type of role position altogether. So really cool that you are able to view those opportunities, even apply for them through here, through our opportunity marketplace, to browse those internal jobs. So again, I think one of our emphases for today is surrounding being able to reskill and upskill the individuals to really retain the talent within the agency. You'd hate to lose someone that is talented because they didn't know about opportunities that were available, or it was, they're one step away from mastering that skill, and we could have had, more success, making sure they're keeping up with trainings and being able to get to that next level. So, the Career Hub is really great. And like I said, staying organized. I think, people want to feel invested in today's world. And I think utilizing a solution like this is really powerful to make it feel that you want to grow these individuals, not just as a, hey, you're doing this job today. We want to keep you. We want you to keep going and growing with us. I'm going to shift over here to IDPs or growth plans or whatever you call them, but really those individual development plans that you're able to work towards that next step and have those actionable tasks, those trainings, those meetings, those certifications of how you actually come in and get there. So I can come in and see what growth plans I have. These don't need to be, how do I get to the next job? Potentially, it could be something like being better at work-life balance, deepening expertise in a specific topic like AI. It's not going away. So how do we get better at specific topics that would be relevant for me in my job? But maybe I want to come in and actually create a new growth plan. You're able to come in and have different templates, whether it is something, you've seen across the agency that is common and people are really working on. But what's also great about this is that you're able to use our AI solution to actually build out an entire growth plan or IDP for this. So won't make you watch me do some data entry, paste in what I want to achieve expertise in a new skill. And then I'm able to come in and generate the draft. What's nice about this is it will go out to a draft form before it actually gets published. But this is an immense time saver because I may know exactly what I want to do, but I don't know how to get there. Using our AI, it's able to make suggestions based on what it knows others have achieved success with in this type of mastering of this skill in this example. So it was able to create this for me. You saw how quick that happened, but making a plan for me here, it's able to suggest different trainings for me on different LMSs. It's able to have that link out to that. It's able to have the skill validation built in. It's able to recommend mentors that would be relevant for me in achieving this. And again, I picked a due date of when I wanted this done by. So again, it's in edit mode too. So I can go back and edit the directions. If this isn't exactly how I wanted it, I can go back and certainly tweak it. I can add an activity. So maybe there is something that I realized, oh, I wanted to add this to that. I have the ability to edit that all together. But once I look at this and I decide, okay, I like this, I'm going to actually go ahead and launch this plan. That then gets shared with my supervisor. So transparency is another effort we're always driving towards within the solution. And I think being the employee, I want my supervisor to empower me. I want them to be a cheerleader for me and in helping me achieve my goals. But have them being able to have the same visibility that I have in where I am within completing this IDP, this plan. I'm able to stay on track, I think, a little bit better. There's more accountability to it too. So wanted to highlight that. Obviously, there are templates. Obviously, there are more probably straightforward, less skill-based approaches to building out an IDP, whether it's moving towards the senior level of your position or working towards a new job. But really cool to use the AI component to build out a whole plan for you pretty fast. So with that, I'm actually going to shift gears then to pivot into the supervisor to see, what they see within their view of this. I mentioned the supervisor being that cheerleader, being that resource for the employees. We have what we call Manager Hub. That's where, again, that's that one-stop shop for them to be a better resource for their team. Different tabs here to help stay organized for today and in the interest of time. Going to just highlight the skills component of this right now. We'll pop into a few more too, but with the skills summary, at the end of it all, skills is what drives the being able to support the mission. So we need to know who has what skills, where are we missing skills, what is our skills distribution looking like. And again, this is just that kind of frontline manager view. Certainly would be available to leaders, and there's even an elevated view that we'll look at momentarily. But skill distribution, right? I can see across all different job functions. I can see across different sections of my team, but I'm able to drill into this to see, okay, if I know we need a certain skill, if I know I need to filter by a specific skill, I can come in and see who has what type of skills, and it'll pull up which individuals on the team have that. So I can even see that from an employee view. So when it comes to identifying the gaps within the agency of where skills might be, this is really powerful because people want to make themselves interesting. People want to be available and supporting the mission. Where I think not having this information and not knowing who has what skills certainly leaves a lot in the dark. You're not able to make decisions and have those insights on, what if a special project is needed or you need to pull somebody in for something. This gives you the ability to look at that very quickly and understand where things are, where things are not. All right, so I'm going to shift back to my team here and look at some team insights. So this is designed to be inclusive of all type of management support, right? Not just even from a skills and employee development perspective. You are able to track certifications, so I can see, who has what certifications, when they're set to expire. And that again, helpful to just have that visual here without even needing to search for it, really teed up for you. But I'm able to see even some analytics surrounding details on my team, who's going through these different journeys, these different career advancements, growth plans, what are the motivation behind these. And really just again have that information at your fingertips to be able to be that better resource for your team. So looking at where people are with trainings or how many trainings are completed. These are highly flexible, really just a dashboard pulled into this. So you can see the data you want to see as the supervisor and having that all within one place here. I'm able to see here the growth plans for my team. So again, having that holistic view of my entire team, everyone of what they're working on. Here is that growth plan we just created for Emily. So I can come in and actually look at what this plan is, see this is new, see this just got kicked off today and what's in here. And then with this, I'm able to make edits to this. So maybe I think she needs to add to this. I could come in and add to this, make changes to it. Again, you're able to have that ability without needing to call IT, without needing to ping the employee on them doing it. That transparency and communication visibility between the supervisor and employee is really valued in our eyes. But again, not just Emily, you see the entire team here, who else is working on what. You're able to filter across all of the different um, components here, searching. Again, just having all that information in one place is really powerful. And again, there's then other pieces to this that won't necessarily touch on today, but really, again, making yourself a valuable resource for the individual. I think of that in my own career of what do I want out of my manager? I want them to be valuable resource, helping me get to doing my job, of course, but then helping me get to the next point in my career. So it all goes back to that investment, I think, of being able to show the individuals that you are investing in them and you care about where they're going and what they're working towards. More prompts. We talked about prompts. Now I'm actually showing the view from the leaders. So this might be an executive, this might be somebody higher up that's more concerned about the overall health of the skill base across the agency. With this, you're able to see org talent. So, how does it span across the different directors? How does it span across the different groups? I'm able to come in and analyze what's going on, being able to see who's doing what across all of the different teams. Even can break out into an org chart structure here. And then you can see who within, this is that supervisor we were just looking at. So I could come in and look at how is her team doing and who's doing what. If I wanted to drill into these types of details, I, as the leader, have the ability to do that. Again, all within the same portal that you might go to ask a question, to look at a knowledge article. This is all that kind of one central place. And even the manager and the leader certainly have their own career section here too, right? So they are also working on growing in their careers too. So they have the same type of um, resources available to them as well. So with that, the org skills, as I mentioned, the skills are really the foundation of the solution, and being able to identify where those gaps are. It's really important for the leader to have a pulse on what's going on across the different departments so we can quickly identify where there are gaps and then know what to prioritize um, on where to fill them, right? It's obviously a different landscape these days, and being able to retain the talent that we have and identifying, who has what and where do we go from here. AI clearly such a new skill to be able to call yourself a master in, pretty low overall. So that's certainly something we would want to focus on. I could drill into this and seeing how are we identifying this? What are the skill details of this? I can see obviously our skill score here, the compliance ratio, how relevant is this skill to our agency? All of this is leveraging AI to help you make these decisions. The proficiency levels, team that needs attention. So it's able to call out, which team is lagging in this versus which team is excelling, right? Who are the top experts on this? So if I do have an AI based question, I know I could come in and call Aaron to ask this, or I could look at what Aaron's doing and what he's done to achieve this mastery, right? So the leader has the ability to look across the entire organization, across every department, to be able to understand the holistic view of these skills. I feel like I spoke through all of that fast. I wanted to highlight back on some of these at a glance analytics to kind of wrap things up before we take some questions. But being able to see how many of our employees are actually engaged within the solution is something that is critical too for a leader to understand, right? Do we need to make a banner on our home portal page to say, hey, this is now available. Let's take advantage of this. A lot of it is making sure people understand what resources are available to them and when they're available. But being able to understand, what the breakout looks like across mentorship or across, creating these plans, and being able to then look at the data surrounding it. All of that's available here within the solution natively because it is capturing the data and then you're able to report on the data. So again, that system of engagement, that one place that an individual can go to manage their career and stay on top of it, right? So again, really powerful to just have it all available in one place. Again, the takeaway for today is really utilizing the solution to empower employees in their career, making sure they are thriving and not just coasting and making sure you are retaining that talent, understanding what skills are needed to support the mission, where you need to reskill people, where you need to upskill people to retain that talent to support the mission. The solution uses AI in the background, and we've seen how AI can help suggest new skills or new jobs or creating new IDPs for those users, for those employees. And then leaders have the information at their fingertips to understand the gaps, where to prioritize, to keep talent within the agency. And like I said, just reskilling them and upskilling them for the mission. So, with that, I'm going to pause and see if there are any questions. Go ahead and stop sharing and see if there's any questions today.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. One thing I noticed too, just from my years serving in government before I went over to ServiceNow, was that key role that the manager fills within talent management. I think that's so often overlooked in today's discussion. I know just my own challenges in a manager position, really wanting to come alongside my team on that professional development journey, but not having those tools at my fingertips, not having that visibility into current skill sets that my team had, not having that clear roadmap about how to empower them and really draw out that vision for them, and then to regularly meet with them. And maybe if I wasn't the most equipped to help come alongside them in that journey, to identify other relevant mentors for them across the agency. I think that piece is really key in all this, and just something I've noticed over the years is often overlooked. Um, Anyone, I think, Sarah, if I'm correct, people can also take themselves off mute if you'd like to join in the conversation.
If they raise their hands, we can take them off of mute.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, feel free if anyone would like to raise their hand, come off mute. Like Sarah mentioned, she's going to send out this recording. So if there are others that you recommend view this and follow up with us, we can continue the conversation individually with any of you who would like.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Stephanie. I think just to, reiterate, we kept this focus for today's conversation. There's a lot more breadth to the solution
Mhm.
that we did not highlight, just from a time purposes, and keeping it concise, but really powerful employee engagement solution. Really, as Stephanie mentioned at the beginning, starting from the hiring experience for both new hires and leaders, hiring managers, through onboarding, helping them have a better onboarding experience, having that transparency, that visibility of what's expected of me, what tasks do I need to complete, digital signatures for forms, form automation throughout the process, the workflow there, and then retaining the talent, growing the talent as there are individuals, working in the organization, and then all the way through retiring, or leaving the agency, or whatever it might be. But it really is a pretty in-depth solution that can solve a lot of needs, all the while engaging with the systems of record too. So not needing to duplicate the information here within another solution. So.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. Sarah, I'll pass it back over to you, and thank you for. So, let's see. See, one hand is raised. Let's see. See, are you able to come off mute?
Yes, I allowed them to speak, but I'm not sure. They may have to unmute.
I think I didn't unmute. Hi, how you doing? I apologize about that.
No worries. We can hear you loud and clear.
But I was saying to myself, this is a very good tool. And by the way, my name is Michelle. I don't know why this number is up here, but anyway, it's probably when I logged in, I forgot to put my name. But There's a lot of changes that is going on within the workforce as far as upgrading to AI and things of that nature. One of the things I think is what you highlighted. There is a lot to this. Is there any way where you can get like ongoing training to help you navigate? Because it's great when you're like, okay, a 52-week program, it looks better in a system like that versus writing it down and having to just go back and forth through a spreadsheet, and then that way you can track where you are in your 52-week goal.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Michelle. And one thing that really drew me to ServiceNow coming from government is the wealth of information that's provided to users, either in-house on our sites, either through documentation or through training videos. The other thing that we have are federal customer groups too. And there have been a number of those who have been interested in talent management and leveraging our employee workflow solution set for talent management priorities that they have. And just organically having those conversations with similar federal agencies who are at the same stage altogether. The other resource, of course, is through adapting this solution, leveraging partners on the implementation journey of this. And our partners also are an extremely valuable resource who have had successful implementations elsewhere and can come alongside the customer in growing with them.
That's cool. Another thing I would like to ask is how do you constantly engage people doing this, and how, like, okay, you do this training and you learn it. How do you implement it for yourself before you give it to someone else? Like, how do you move forward with it?
Just to make sure I'm understanding the question, are you asking about more in-depth training for the leaders of an organization and those who are responsible for that organizational change?
Like, for example, like if you workflow, right? How would be enhanced for others? Like that program, would it be enhanced for workflow? Because it's not just one workflow you
Yeah.
do. It, so you got nuclear missions, you might have TOs, you might have finance. So that's why I'm asking, like, will this enhance those areas?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so this solution is focused on a particular person's role, unique role and responsibility. So they're going to get access to this solution that matches with their individual roles and responsibility within the organization. So if they're working more on the back end of uh, the HR department, for instance, their portal will be specific to that. If they're in more of an executive leadership role, their portal and what they have visibility into with this would look very different from that person working a back end HR specialist role. Emily, is there anything more you'd like to add with that one?
Yeah, one thing I'll just piggyback on that is the workflow component. I mean, ServiceNow at our core, we do workflows really well. What's great about this solution is it's designed with cross-departmental workflows in mind. So for something like onboarding is a great example of, you know, that touches multiple different departments. And there might be different tasks associated with each different department. That workflow is able to be defined and then it's seamless. It goes, the tasks are assigned to the right individuals, the right teams. I'm able to go in, sign off, complete my task, do whatever I need to do, and then it automatically gets routed to the next individual or the next team. So that's something we do really well at our core. And I think this solution provides the intuitive nature for users to have that seamless experience without knowing that that workflow is defined on the back end. I just see my tasks. I don't know or may not even care how it got written, right? But it's all available to me to see too. I have the ability to see who's next in the process. So if things do get hung up, who do I go to? How does it get escalated? You can build all of that into it's really just defining the workflows. So that's something that, at implementation of this solution, we would work with you to understand what is the process. Maybe not what is your current process, but what is your ideal process, and work with, going through that change management to make sure that you're not just automating a bad process, but you're working towards everyone getting towards the best and most efficient process possible.
Thank you, Miss Emily. I appreciate that clarity because when you're in a system workflow, and there is some processes like that where it can get hung up with the one person or one unit or one division because it needs a two-letter sign off. So, thanks for clearing that up. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's, I think, what we see our customers most excited about with this solution is the fact that it is able to, things don't go into a dark hole anymore. You know
Mm.
where the hang up is if there is a hang up. So, yeah, great question.
Would anyone else like to come off mute at all before we sign off here? Right. Well, Sarah, I'll pass it back over to you and everyone again, thank you so much for joining, and I'm looking forward to follow-up conversations. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'd like to thank all of our participants as well as our speakers for being with us today. We hope the information you received during this webinar has been helpful. If you have any further questions or you would like to request more information, please feel free to reach out. Thank you again and have a great day.